Okay, I've gotten distracted. Now I'm just like internally like raging against AI.
Yeah, we could just spend 2 hours talking, you know.
Yeah. There's not much in housekeeping. I did finally add spells. I think I added spells. So the things we've talked about, like silvery barbs and whatnot, have been added to the spell book for
Ooh.
your selection during level ups and things like that. And that's all of the housekeeping I think I had. Well, that was fun. So last session, you guys left Loudwater after deciding to allow the Crushing Wave cultists that the High Priestess of the Crushing Wave offered. And you allowed them to join the caravan to Parnast and become citizens of that village and help out with the projects that Lady Belliphauna has for improvement there. Lady Belliphauna emphasized discretion in this endeavor. Like the existing populace in Parnast is very anti-cultist, and given their history of tyranny under the followers of the cult of the dragon. So she's like, if they know they're cultists, it's probably not going to be good. And they already don't like her, she says. Challenging the notion of subtlety right away, the individuals joining the caravan included Tidemaster Brack, that imposing soldier figure who wrangles the chariot drawn by a pair of albino roughhide alligators. He agreed to keep the elevators traveling low-key in the river for now so as to not make people nervous. You departed Loudwater. You traveled over a winding causeway that stretched the eastern banks of the wide conflux of two rivers where the village sits, or where Loudwater sat. And once the caravan rolled outside the radius of where the crushing wave directly clears and kind of controlled the airspace, you came to the rescue of a halfling man named Matthias Rylan, who is beset by a nest of harpies. In between the threat of their hypnotic song, you pulled out a victory, and Tidemaster Brack's alligators earned a snack. Matthias lamented that most of his cargo was lost as his wagon crashed into the water, including his wife's birthday gift, so he had some wittering about having to do something, needing to do something to celebrate her birthday. He joined the caravan as far as Sweetwater, the hamlet where he lives, near the river road. It's now called Gravel Run at this point. I think it was like the Iron Road and up until you got to Loudwater. But where the rivers met, you're now riding alongside the Greyflow River. So the name of the road has kind of shifted, what the locals call it. But you traveled a day to get there from Loudwater. It's dusk on the 24th of Marpenoth. The caravan has turned off for the night for hospitality at the Smiling Satyr Inn that is paid for by the purse of Matthias Rylan to thank you for rescuing him. And so to celebrate his wife's birthday, there's to be a party this evening, just a general celebration. Matthias mentioned something about a scavenger hunt, and all in Sweetwater and everyone in the caravan is invited. Now, the turnoff that crossed a tributary of the Greyflow River, passable by stone bridge, and on this bridge, Kai noticed that the bridge sheltered, there was a cave underneath it. I also forgot to mention that by this bridge, there was a small hut and dock, where there was a sign that advertised Sweetwater Traders, Matthias Rylan proprietor, and Matthias leapt down from the caravan when you passed it, and with a defeated posture, he added a small sign that read, "Closed until further notice." And then the road for the next mile was heavily wooded, surrounded by forest that perhaps once belonged to the Southwood. This, in turn, was once part of the High Forest before civilization and arcane disaster sundered the whole into many. As the caravan rolls toward the end and the campgrounds that Matthias Ryland has promised, the sky has grown golden with the setting sun, their purple tendrils of the night growing thicker until they seem to swallow the light. The forest about the road dissolves, giving way to a view of orchards, tilled fields, and less than 10 houses. It's hardly bigger than the logging camp that you stopped at before Loudwater. A heavy cover of clouds moves quickly overhead as a brisk wind sweeps through the cleared pastures of this hamlet, dropping the chill autumn into temperatures that make your breath visible in the fading light. You spot on the approach to Sweetwater's Inn a statue standing in a bed of climbing ivy. It is made of wood, and the figure is of a dancing satyr, one knee raised in mid-jig, playing his pipes. He has long, winding horns and a broad, secretive grin. And as you draw close, maybe 20 feet away, a haunting, otherworldly melody of the flute begins to play.
Okay, do we all hear that?
Oh, well, if you're close enough, you hear it, the music. The caravan is kind of like rolling past. This statue seems to be, it's by a gate, and this seems to be your destination. There is a long building. It has a fenced-in yard with a fountain in the middle. There seems to be stables to one side. It's like a 3-story building, and you can already see there's a bustle. And then to the side of it, the left past the gate, there seems to be a very expansive campgrounds where there are already several wagons and a few livestock already have been put up, made their kind of camp for the night. There are sounds of some talking and clanking of mugs coming from inside the building. And Matthias tells you, oh, here we are, the Smiling Satyr Inn. You just pull off to the side, make your way for your livestock and all who wish to camp here to the campgrounds, and I will settle inside, see if they have how many rooms they have available. So this happens. You see Matthias comes back after a few minutes, and he's made like the best arrangements he can. The campground is open for anyone to set up camp there. He says that there are 4 rooms available in the inn, and apologize if there aren't more available, but there's already some customers that are passing through or that have been holed up there in Sweetwater. And then he repeats like an invitation that they're going to have a feast later, and there's going to be supper put on at the inn for anyone who likes to who wishes to partake, as well as some drinks. And he promises he's to hold a party and a scavenger hunt later. And he bids you farewell for now because he wants to go off and find his wife. Unless you have anything else you want to ask him, he kind of toddles off to his home and kind of pass the word around the hamlet to other people to invite them to the festivities at the Smiling Satyr Inn later this evening.
Okay. So again, how should we go and set up? I'm assuming we're going to want to camp. I mean, I don't mind camping.
Yeah, I don't mind camping. Depends on whether Lady Belliphauna wants to.
Yeah, I mean, she could take one of the rooms.
Now, I think I want to camp, but maybe like we'll put Joe Mont and what's his name, Garen Ravenshield. I mean, they're fancy, so they'll probably do better in rooms.
I mean, that sounds like an idea.
Yep.
And then see who else maybe wants to take the other 2. I'm kind of feeling the outdoors. I'm into this.
Okay, so should we? What should we do? Should we Should we go get the camp settled and then tell Jomon and what's his face that they can have the rooms?
Yeah, let's do that because we're not gonna want to go and have drinks and then come back and have to set up the tent. So
Yeah, exactly.
Tidemaster Brack, he's also, I'm going to stay outdoors as well. He's not really interested in what's going on at the inn. Terry and Noodles, they're the ones who are most occupied with getting the livestock settled, because that's generally what they've been doing, is managing like the pigs and the cattle and the goats. But there's a couple others who express interest. It's settled that Jomont and Garen are taking a couple of the rooms, but the other two, one of the rooms ends up going to what's his name from Zelbros. I think it's like Sigus Quarren, the blacksmith.
the blacksmith, yes.
Yeah, so he takes one of the other rooms, and then there is I can't remember their name either. It's like Carmody and what's her name? They take the fourth. But everybody else is like settled in. Everyone gets their stuff situated for the night. But you hear like people start filtering over to the inn. You see from the hamlet. Not too many, because it's really like, as you look around, kind of like this hamlet, you see there's the inn with the very large camp field, and you see like as you settle your camp, there seems to be some other wagons already in place. There's many horses like are in the stable portion of the inn's yard, and you get the sense that there may be a few other like adventurers here. You meet one merchant who says something about there seems to be problems on the road east, and he's waiting for a word or some sign of travel from that direction before he goes further.
Does he have any details of what kind of trouble? Bandits?
Well, he's heard rumors of bandits, but he's heard rumors of problems with giants, and he's heard rumors of dragons. So
okay.
It's all over the place, and you're kind of like, which of these things is it? What's most likely? And it's kind of it's a little bit unsettling that there's this further sense that there's something going around Oralbar, but not enough information about what that is.
Right, and that's where we've heard about the cultist activity, isn't it, from the people in Loudwater?
I don't know if you heard about cultist activity, but you did hear people haven't. There's been no word. Like it's been silent for about a month, where people haven't heard from like family in Oralbar for that period, and it was further hampered by the crushing wave not allowing air traffic into Loudwater, because at one point there was like a balloon kind of passenger service or courier service that was run by Yelena's old acquaintance, Moldy Marstein.
Okay.
So there's a sense that communication has been cut off with Oralbar, and this is reinforcing that what you heard about that in Loudwater. But there's maybe 8 farms surrounding this inn, and it's kind of on top of a hill, but it's fairly flat. Because of all the farmland, but it's slightly raised over compared to where you were back with the road traveling by the river. The question is, as you see people start going over to the end, and the sounds of boisterous laughter and the clinking of glasses begins to grow louder, emanating from the building. Are you going to stay out in the camp? Or are you going to take a peek in and see what's inside?
Do we want to peek in real quick?
I mean, we could at least have a drink.
Yeah, let's go get a drink real quick.
Oh, I wanted to test something. Let me share a little picture, like the outside of the inn. Question. Do you see anything in the doorway right now?
Do you mean like the big entryway in the wall, or a doorway anywhere else on the...
Like leading into the inn's courtyard?
No.
No.
Do you see something now?
Yes, I see a squirrel.
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to test that. I wanted to see how that worked. It's not significant. You're not going to suddenly have a squirrel attack or anything. Unless Terel uses her cloak. But
If she actually remembers ever.
I know, I was like setting up stuff and I like kept seeing all these links I have for the Cloak of Rabid Squirrels, and I'm like, well, one day it will be your time to shine.
One day Terel will remember, yeah.
But no, that was just me testing a feature in Fantasy Grounds that I should have done earlier, but I forgot because I am like a goldfish. I was so distracted. So you enter the inn, and there seems to be a big spread of food. The tap room has 2 huge hearths standing on either side of a flagstone floor. And by these hearths, there are some people gathered, many faces you recognize because the majority of people here are part of the caravan. But there's also stranger faces of strangers. But there's many patrons who are like toasting bread and sausages at these hearths on long forks. There's a couple people, you're assuming people who are staying at the inn or the campground, who are drying like their feet in socks and stuff, kind of propping their legs up by the fire. You hear the boisterous voice of Lord Jomont offering to buy drinks, and he's congratulating a halfling woman who is standing by Matthias Ryland, and she's kind of blushing at the attention, and he is offering to buy drinks and bottles of wine and calling for a round for everyone, as Lord Jomont seems to be wont to do.
Yeah.
So he is deep in socializing. The walls of the inn seem to be decorated with many antique weapons and broken shields. There's a few skulls of things that look perhaps monstrous, like they could be trophies of adventures from adventurers who have passed through on their way to other climes. And notably, behind the bar, there are 2 crossed battle axes. There is a human man stationed behind the bar with thick forearms. He has like a ruddy complexion. His beard is kind of ginger and white. The bald head. Round-faced. But he seems to be of good humor. And he's encouraging all of this. Near the bar where he is stationed, there seems to be a couple doors behind him. One of them, platters of food are coming out with a couple of waitstaff. There is a younger woman and a slightly older man handing out food. One of them is half elf. The woman is half elf, and the man is also human, like the barkeep. There seems to be another room that isn't seeing traffic, and there is a curtained off area. There is a half orc with his arms crossed, kind of leaning against the wall by that curtained off room.
This tavern has a VIP area.
It's possible. He's looking around, but he does seem to get, one minute he's kind of like sternly kind of really focused, but he does seem to get distracted by the noise of the gathering. And every once in a while someone will come by and talk to him, like one of the locals and stuff. So he seems like he's guarding that closed off, the curtained off room, but he's not like 100% focused on it. He's distractible.
Okay.
And so there's drinks on offer, there's food on offer, and they're free of charge.
How kind.
Yeah, I think I'll sort on over and try and find some of them sausages that are being cooked.
Protein.
Mm-mm.
Do they have a tip jar out?
Yeah, sure. And there's like also like a take a penny, leave it, like take a copper, leave a copper.
I feel like I'll leave a little something.
Yeah.
A couple gold.
There's a spread, and some people, it seems to be some of the people coming in from the hamlet bring food with them as well, as kind of like their birthday gift kind of thing. So it's a little bit of, it has some potluck vibes going on as well. But there's sausages, there's like roast meats, there's like a goose, which makes like put sprinkles inside. The whole thing, roast goose, it's, you know, thinking in your past, you know, there's potential for like being a little bit nervous about roast goose nowadays, but like it's on the spread. And you do see Harkin, the soldier that you rescued from the shape changers. He steers clear of that. But there's also there's apples. And you see, make a perception check.
Oh, look, we don't have to do anything now. We just got a little button.
Ooh,
I was wondering if that's what that was.
is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So nice.
So Kai, if you don't already have 2 inspirations, give yourself another inspiration for that wonderful nat 1. But Terel, you're the only one who picks up anything. My mind just went blank. What the hell? There's one woman, she's brought an apple pie. And there seems to be a lot of excitement about this. But after a while, you notice that there are a few people who have complained about not feeling well.
Oops.
And they were all people who had the apple pie. So
I'll lean over to I'll lean over to Kai and Yelena and just say, I don't think we should try the apple pie.
I can make my own pie. Or
That's right.
conjure my own
can.
pie. So
You could add to the thing and make us
That's
right.
really
could.
popular.
I could. Shall we do that?
Yeah.
What kind of
Apparently-
pie? What kind of pie?
Well, don't do apple because it might put her out of, you know, she
That's
might get miffed at you.
Put somebody's nose out of joint.
Yeah. Cherry.
Cherry pie. Yeah, go on. Shall we? Yeah, go on. I'll conjure a cherry pie.
Okay. So you conjure a cherry pie and present it to the birthday lady, who is Matthias introduces as his wife Greta, and she thanks you and she blushes and she happily accepts a slice and just oohs and ahs over how wonderful the cherry pie is. And she says, honestly, I wish we were having the pie contest because why? Because this is me like completely my brain.
Try to find your nose.
brain is so
I'm glad it's not just me. I'm doing that so much more. That I'm in the middle of talking about something. I'm like, oh, where was I going with this crap?
Again, brain fog is real. It's
Yes, it is.
horrible.
because I wish we
Also-
were having the pie contest, the annual pie contest, because Famke Frackenmind, she keeps winning with her apple pie. I don't know how she does it. She's won for the past 3 years. Her cooking used to be swell. example, if we were having this pie contest today, this cherry pie of yours, Mr. Kai, would win. I swear on it.
Excellent.
Roll another perception check. You know, I forgot. There was something that I was testing your perception on earlier, and I completely forgot. I blanked what it was, and I still haven't remembered. So there's some important thing here. I was like, that you could notice, but like, I didn't want to just say it outright, and I have totally forgotten it. So, man, internally my brain, that the hamster is just running for all it's worth because I can't remember what it was. Yelena, you notice Greta Ryland seems to be hiding. She's kind of keeping one hand tucked in her lap. So she's like doing one-handed, and she seems to be hiding her ring hand. You think it's a little bit suspicious that she's favoring her right hand so much. Given that she's like accepting a piece of pie, everything, it seems a little bit unnatural.
And was this the same woman that would win the pie contest?
No, this is the birthday. The birthday girl.
Wife, yeah.
Ah, okay. Oh dear.
But she is kind of keeping her hand out of sight.
I don't know how we address that. Just keep an eye on her, I guess. I'll just point it out to. I mean, she's a halfling, little bitty thing, right?
Yeah.
Does she look like a threat otherwise?
No, she just looks homespun. She's very amiable.
Maybe she's lost a wedding ring and don't want to admit it.
She's excited about the party, and she as you look around the crowd, you study her and you study the faces of these different people, like Famke Frackenheim, or whatever her name is, who made the apple pie, and Greta Ryland, the birthday lady. Greg, the bouncer, who's guarding the cloaked closet kind of thing. You look around. Make an insight check.
Is it all of us or just Yelena?
Any of you can if you want to.
Ooh.
Woo! So Yelena. Yeah, she seems very nice, but like you do kind of pick up now that you've studied her and how she's hiding the hand, you don't see any sign of a wedding ring on that hand, and you think the first guess that you guys were kind of having amongst yourselves is that, oh, maybe she's lost her wedding ring. You think that might be the case and she's trying to hide it. You also have picked out, now that you've studied the expression of Famke Frankenheim, she has realized that something's up with her pie, and she looks really pissed. She looks visibly like infuriated, and after a few minutes you see her kind of like stomp and slip out of the inn. And then Greg, the bouncer, there's some impromptu musicians have started up a tune, and there is one of the adventurers, like a comely adventurer who's with this bardic troupe, starts to like flirt with him and pull him into a dance, leaving the curtained space that he was guarding guard free.
So has this halfling birthday party gotten sinister?
It's a party in a small hamlet. Of course there's drama.
Is this Midsummer Murders?
I don't know. I mean, even if it's not Midsummer Murders, it's at least going to be like, I don't know, Emmerdale or something.
Oh, God.
Maybe that's worse. This is guaranteed drama.
Okay, so she's hiding a ring. Someone sabotaged the apple pie. There's a weird room with a guard.
Can we sneak a peek behind the curtain? If the guard's not there?
You certainly can.
Oh, let's do that.
Make
Let's
a
do
stealth
that.
check. Or if you've agreed to sneak behind the curtain, how are you going to sneak behind the curtain? Do you have a strategy here, or are you just going to slip in?
Well, should I try and because I can't see that I'll be very stealthy with my armor, so
Does anyone have any abilities that assist with being sneaky?
I am very stealthy myself.
I think Yelena pokes her head through the curtain. Do you think maybe?
Yeah, and we could sort of like stand in front of her, pretending to chat and block anyone who's looking that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, so I'm making a stealth check.
Sure. And just in case there are any other abilities you have that assist with stealthing.
Well, I was going to say I'd cast guidance.
This is me being like...
But she rolled the dice before I could
I rolled the dice, sorry.
That's fine, but you did well. You did well. This was me like glaringly trying to say you just got a spell. Yelena just got a spell that assists with that.
Oh, have you got an invisibility spell?
Paths without a trace.
That's right, I forgot.
So, I was trying to be subtle, but now I'm being non-subtle.
But that affects all of us, right?
That affects anybody who's near you.
Okay.
All right.
All right. We'll remember that next time. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Yep.
I feel like I should get out there because I know how we all are. We don't remember things, especially from session to session. But maybe
I remember being very excited when I saw Pass Without Trace.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That one.
But maybe, just maybe, we'll remember something one time, and it'll be helpful. But in 19 is plenty of stealth. Your rangery, forest treading kicks in, and you slip behind the curtain. And Terel and Kai, are standing there, just kind of amiating, kind of blocking any view of your movements as well as they meander around that area. So it wouldn't have been easy for someone to just catch sight of your sneakiness, because not only are you being quick with your movements, but it's hard to see. So behind this curtain, it appears to be a cloakroom, but it's a cloakroom that doesn't seem to be in much use. It's obvious right away that the cloaks that are hanging there are very old and dusty, like they have not been moved in quite some time. There is a big dilapidated wooden trunk that is bolted to the floor. Make a perception check. There's something off about this trunk. Like...
Mimic! That was what I was thinking too. Is it drooling a little bit?
It's not drooling a little bit.
Twitching?
Your ears pick up almost like the sound of the passage of air, like a little breeze maybe, and the trunk seems like it's almost not fit together correctly. Like the pieces don't really match up. So there's like this combination of like a cloakroom that isn't being used as a cloakroom and a trunk that doesn't seem to really be a trunk. And that sound of air is almost like it's not this smaller closed in boxy thing meant for holding objects. It seems to be like the sound that you hear coming from it, you would associate with a larger space.
Okay, so it's a doorway. It's a passageway or something. Okay. Well, I don't know that it's something sort of interesting to note. And I'm going to slip back out and just tell Kai and Terel that. But I kind of feel like, is there any reason for us to be concerned about that? I don't know that there is. Other than if somebody disappears or something weird happens, then maybe we go check back there tonight, and hopefully nothing weird happens tonight.
So,
But knowing us and what we run into, something weird will happen
Yeah,
tonight.
we'll wake up in the morning and the whole inn will have been burnt to the ground.
Yes, exactly.
so you meander back into the party. You tell them that, like, okay, there's like a trunk that you think it's hiding a secret passageway.
Right. So they were guarding that, right?
And the cloakroom. Greg was guarding it.
All right.
And after a few minutes, the dance finishes and Greg returns to his post. But, you know, he's
Why
guarding,
would he be guarding it though?
but he's still kind of, and you see, like, everybody do another perception check as you guys are milling around the party.
Drinks
Well,
are kicking in.
Yeah, the drinks are kicking in. You guys are like, you guys are kind of overwhelmed with the, like, is this a problem? As you usually do. And maybe it's like an unwillingness to have things be your problem. But, you know, people can use their inspirations. If they,
Oh no!
if they want to notice anything else about the party.
I'll use an inspiration. Hang on.
What does that do? Sorry.
You get to re-roll.
Yay! There we go.
So kind of stuff. See, this is a good DM lesson when you never make players roll for stuff that you know any kind of hooks for things.
If you need them to do something, make them do it.
Make them do it.
If you want to give them opportunities to get involved with any kind of adventure and plot, don't make them roll for it. That's stupid.
Yeah, just push them through a door.
Just tell them stuff. As you're walking, you're thinking about this. You do see that Greg has kind of shooed off some people. Like one person has come in off the road. If someone from the caravan, and they're like, "Hey, can I hang my cloak up in here?" And they're like, "No, it's closed. It's under construction." And you see him shoo somebody off.
Wow, that's a feeble excuse.
So this is the halfling couple own this entire inn, this courtyard and everything?
As you've been wandering around, the halfling couple don't own this inn.
Okay.
Well, you find out that the halfling couple, they do own an apple orchard.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the Matthias had the river trading business, but you've gotten from discussion that he's had some struggles lately, like his boat was stolen by bandits or hijacked by river pirates.
But surely if he's a halfling, his boat will be tiny. Why pirates want a tiny boat?
His boat wasn't tiny. That's just an assumption. Just because he's a little lad doesn't mean his boat is tiny.
It might be. Okay. Stand corrected.
Matthias over here is like, my boat was as large as it needed to be.
Yeah.
He's quite indignant about that.
Right.
Kai, you also pick up a rumor. Terry's a little bit concerned. He's like, the count of the pigs is off, and he kind of come in kind of breathless from his kind of tending to the livestock, and he's like, my pig count is off. See any pigs in here?
No. Unless there's one on a spit roast somewhere.
Oh no. Well, I didn't volunteer a pig to be on a spit roast.
How many pigs are you short?
Oh, just the one. What a surprise, buddy. He's Fred. You know Fred.
Yeah, you sure he's not just wandered off somewhere?
Well, he might have wandered off somewhere, but I haven't found him yet. I'm a bit concerned. I guess I'll wander off somewhere and see if I can find him.
Yeah, can any of the other pigs track Fred?
Well, I could ask him. Don't
You
think
could.
pigs are
What about-
renowned for their tracking unless it's mushrooms.
Yes, right. Truffles.
What about Sprinkles? Would Sprinkles be able to track him?
Yeah, good
Right.
idea.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sprinkle seems excited about this idea. she goes off with Terry.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then after a while, Kai, you hear again, both because you're kind of like eavesdropping. There is, you don't catch his first name, but he seems to be like Mr. Frankenheimer, like the husband of the pie lady. And he's kind of like wondering. He has not seen his child has not shown up yet for this party.
So missing one pig and one kid.
Child.
His daughter Folio has not shown up to this party. And then wandering around, there's another person named Budmonger, whose son Peter has not shown up.
Alright, that sounds concerning, the fact that there's some kids missing.
Kids are missing.
Yeah.
Maybe they're playing with the pig. Maybe they stole the pig.
They could have done.
Secret barbecue.
Oh my god, that's like Lord of the Flies shit, is that?
Do we think that they're potentially being kidnapped and stowed away in the hidden passageway?
I mean, considering the fact that shit follows us all over the place, it's possible.
Yes.
Was that trunk big enough to get a pig into?
It was a fairly large trunk. I mean, it's a secret door. Or you think it's a secret door, so it's definitely large enough for a person to enter it. So conceivably a pig as well. Maybe not an owlbear, but you could conceive a decently sized person, like I give like the bouncer and the pig the same name. Did I call them both Greg? I might have called them both Greg, but like
I think you called the pig. Was the pig Fred?
Fred.
Yeah.
Fred.
I was like
Pig was
freaking
Fred.
out. Fred. That
All these monosyllabic
Fred.
men's names.
yeah, this is me putting forth maximum effort. Fred the pig. Okay. And then Greg the bouncer. So close though. Remember, Bonnie, remember things. It's really helpful. But yeah, Greg the bouncer, he's half orc, he's pretty beefy. He could fit into the trunk that you saw. So you think, yeah, a pig could fit in that. Most people, a person, single file could fit in there. Maybe a couple halflings at the same time. A couple gnomes.
Is there
Okay.
another way to get to that cloakroom other than that curtain?
I mean, did you see any doors or windows while you were in there?
Did I? Good question.
You did not examine the walls closely, but you did not see any sign of windows or doors.
Okay.
Can we distract Greg again?
I don't know. Can you?
Have we got anything that we can do to distract him? And then Yelena can throw a pass without trace and we all go in. Dancing lights, something like that. I've got dancing lights, haven't I? I've got fairy fire.
Ooh, no. I was going to say
do
we could
that.
set the curtain on fire. That'd distract him,
No,
wouldn't it?
don't do that.
It's such a cock suggestion.
Alright, how about if I cast fairy fire on people on the other side of the room? They don't do all if we're not attacking them, it'll just light them up.
Yeah, but would that pique his
I know what.
curiosity?
I know what, I can activate my cloak of squirrels and they can be a distraction.
Yeah.
I love it.
Set loose some rabid squirrels in the inn.
Are the rabbits? Can I just tell them to like run round and cause havoc and then run away?
Let's see. Let's summon some squirrels.
Don't want to do it if they're going to attack everyone.
Well, the creature. Let me share it with you. Let me remember how to share it with you. It's a legion of rabid squirrels.
One can
Do you
occupy
have
a-
full control?
No, it's just like.
Oh,
it
let's
doesn't
look
say
at the
it just
item.
bites.
I could cast Pratfall on somebody.
What's that?
You cause a small bit of bad luck to befall a creature, making it look humorously foolish when you cast this spell.
You could cast it on Greg.
Okay, it does say this. The
Yes.
legion of squirrels is friendly to you and your companions, and they obey your verbal commands.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so squirrels or pratfall, which do we think would be better?
Ooh. I think Pratfall.
You could
Oh,
you could
crap,
double up even. Mass confusion.
Are these literally rabid or just figuratively rabid?
It says that they will, if they bite,
They do poison damage if they bite.
they
That's
do
the
poison
rabid part.
damage. Oh yeah, the legion of squirrels obeys your verbal commands.
But they are under Terel's control, so they'll do what she says.
Right.
Okay. Well, yeah. Do the squirrels then, eh?
All right. So I sort of like back into a quiet corner and summon the squirrels and tell them that I want them to run over to the food, grab some food, run round people, but don't attack them.
Like maximum havoc, but no biting.
Yeah. No biting, and then run out of the tavern.
Okay.
Tell them to throw food at people. That'd be fun.
Yes. Grab food and throw it at people.
So
And
Terel.
Greg.
Okay. Terel unleashes these squirrels. Look at this, like a swarm of little squirrels. Maybe I should bring Tony back, because like
Yeah, he'd love it.
he's running wild. A whole bunch of little Tonys are unleashed upon the Smiling Satyr Inn, and they run amok. Running over tables, running over tankards, tipping them. There is an uproar of squeals and screams as the squirrels seem to just dance around, running up as many people and popping off their, using their heads as a springboard. They dive into the food. They start like they're throwing muffins at people. They're unfortunately they ravage what remains of Kai's cherry pie, because obviously the superior one, and they get somebody like they're they have opportunistic attack on the nuts, and they're running all over the place.
Best line so far today.
Oh god, that was great.
And then they kind of all, as a mass unit, kind of go for Greg the bouncer. And he's like, "Whoa!" And they're chasing him around the inn. And there's
Cue Benny Hill music.
yeah, there's cue the Benny Hill music. There's like screaming and uproar, and everyone's like, "Ah! Where did the squirrels come from?"
Right, in we go.
Yep.
So you all duck
sneaky-
into
Cloakroom.
the cloakroom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody
and-
make
yeah.
everybody make a stealth check with pass without trace, which will add 10.
Cool. So is that going to do that automatically now that I said use power? I guess we'll see.
I don't know if it will, but like we'll see if it adds 10. And if it doesn't, I'll just manually do it.
It looks like it gives us advantage. Oh no, that's me being disadvantage for
For your armor.
armor.
But still
Not bad.
Still, your average is over 20, so no problem. You've completely disrupted things. Nobody, I mean, not only does Greg not notice, but nobody, the bartender, the confusion is overwhelming. And you all slip into the cloakroom without a problem.
So I'm curious about, you've got one button here that says use power and the other one is the effect. And I don't know which one applies the
I think you have to literally drag the effect to each person who
Okay.
has the effect.
But we can just add.
Mm-hmm. I'm treating it all like you rolled an 18, a 23, and a 22.
So we made it.
So you made it. You're now in the cloakroom. The curtain is pulled closed behind you. You're staring at the trunk.
Do we check the
And
traps?
what? And looking at each other. Who's gonna touch it first?
I mean, I can poke it with something, but does any of us have trappy stuff?
Oh, cool. So, do we have a general +10 to Dex? Anything that's a dexterity?
No, I think it's just stealth checks.
Just stealth. Okay.
Boo.
But you can investigate it.
Ah, yes. Let's do that. Shall we do that?
Yes.
Mine's a -1, so I'm thinking mine will be. Oh, who's doing it? I'll do guidance. Ah!
Oh,
Well,
it's
I've
getting
rolled,
stuck.
but it's stuck.
It's a 14, but it's...
Oh, there
There
we
we
go.
go.
There we go.
Oh, you
Okay.
don't need guidance. Screw that.
Well, yeah, that's massive investigation. You're like using your big brain, Kai, and you're looking over it and you're like, well, this isn't even a trunk. It's not trapped. It just flips open, and you like flip open the lid, and there it reveals a staircase.
Right.
And you're right,
Okay.
there's no trap.
Awesome.
An open flight of stairs leading downward.
Is it dark or light?
It's kind of dark.
I get my sword out for light.
You head down the stairs.
Yeah, Terel goes first, yeah?
Sure.
All right.
Yep. I volunteer as tribute.
You slowly move down the stairs, and it is dark, but you see some places on the flight of stairs leading down, where there is like a brazier that could have been lit, but it is cobwebbed over. It seems like it hasn't been in use in a while. And there is dust on the stairs as well, like the stairs have not been used for a while either.
So there's no footprints or anything
But
like
as
that
you
recently?
move down them, it becomes very clearly obvious there's this long room at the foot of these stairs, and the entire room, with your dark vision, Kai, and Yelena, and Terel, with the light coming off of your sword, you can see the start of it. There are large arcane circles inscribed on the walls to the left and right, and like 2 on either side, and each of them is numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's a 5th circle etched on the opposite wall, but it has been vandalized, cracked. And peering down the side of the stairs, you see that there's some kind of like a cupboard door built in under the stairs. So 5 arcane circles, 1 of them ruined, cupboard under the stairs.
Should we check the cupboard? What do we mean by an arcane circle? Does that mean it's just like a warding a spell?
Well, yeah, I mean, would Kai be able to tell if he was to have a look closer?
Kai can examine it and make an Arcana check.
Okay.
With your Arcana check, you looking at these circles. Remember, they're very large. They are the size of larger than a person, and from what's etched in, you can tell it's a permanent spell.
Okay.
And
Can I tell
from
what?
your studying of the runes, you can identify that it is a conjuration spell. but they're all slightly different. It seems like they might all be like the same spell, but there are some slight differences to it. Like they all it's weird. They create the same thing, and yet the thing they create is slightly different. Has a different purpose. Looking on the cupboard underneath the stairs, you see a little bed, a little with a little desk, like it was somebody used to live there, but it is no longer, like it is shows sign of disuse.
Well, yeah, Harry Potter, he went off to Hogwarts, didn't he? So it's all right.
And Kai, as you're examining these arcane circles, and you could put your hand close by, like tracing some of the runes, you're trying to figure out exactly what the spell is for. As you get just a little bit too close, there's like a little bit of like a humming of power, and you see that the hem of your robe brushes up against the wall, and it seems to flash out of sight momentarily, like it's moved through the wall. And you step back, and your robe is fine. And you wonder if this isn't a door to somewhere else.
Okay, yeah, like a portal.
Or some kind of just camouflage spell.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we want to go through one?
We could.
We could just poke a head in.
Should we chuck a stone? Is there something we can chuck? Or no, that might alert whoever's on the other side.
Right.
Dunno. Are we still? How long does your thingy last, Yelena?
It takes my concentration up to 1 hour.
Okay, so
Alright, cool.
yeah.
So we could try and sneak through. If that's even possible.
Shall we? Is there anything else that we need to look for? Is there anything else that
Wait,
could
did you say
pique
there was
our
a
interest?
did you say there was a desk in that little room?
Yeah.
Is there anything, any drawers or anything? Books.
Papers.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that means let's take a peek.
So you search through the desk, and you do find a couple little notes. One is, well, you search the desk, you find one note that is handwritten, but you're searching the room, and you find another that's like crumpled and that had rolled underneath the cot in this little cupboard. The one that is under the cupboard, it seems to be written in a cipher that you can't immediately understand, but there is a symbol on it. Everyone make a history check. Terel, you just barely did well enough. And you recognize the symbol as being that of the Harpers.
Ah, well, they're all sneaky buggers, we know that.
Then the letter you find in the desk is more circumspect, and it has some writings on it. It refers to Parnast, and it has some communications about the cult of the dragon. But it seems to be several years old.
Okay. I shall relay that to Kai and Yelena. So, possibly this was the inn at some point was some kind of front, or it wasn't an inn a way back, and someone used to live here who was a harper.
And say,
And if they're guarding it, then
Yeah,
not-
I mean, if
I'm not
Greg's
sure
up
whether
there,
to make this. Everyone, as examining the letters, make an investigation check if you want to examine, like, compare the two letters.
oh,
nice.
Yeah.
Drinking for me. So Kai, you have a sense of this too, but Yelena, you feel definite that because you have experience following tracks, you are attuned to noting slight differences and being able to whittle down that, okay, this is the track of a deer, this is the track of a rabbit, this is the track of a moose. You know, you can pick out minuscule differences in the terrain. And you note differences in these two letters. It's obvious to you they were written by two different hands, two different people. But also from characteristics of the paper and the aging on them, you get a sense that the Harper letter is significantly older. And the Cult of the Dragon letter is much more recent.
okay, so I convey that.
Okay, so we've got a letter about a harper.
And Kai, I'm going to say that you, for your 16, well, what you see kind of reinforces what Yelena has picked out about the relative aging of it. You're more focused on the letter with the Harper symbol and what the cipher might be. And from the cipher, you get a sense, kind of puzzling out how you might solve it, that the message has something to do with movements out of Silvery Moon.
Okay.
Remind me what Silvery Moon is again?
Silvery Moon. Well, Terel, you know a lot about Silvery Moon because you lived there at one point.
All right.
It is the largest city to Oakshield, to the north of the High Forest. And it's about 2 days or so travel away from Oakshield. It has a large elven presence. And you served in the army there after you had to leave Oakshield and fought in the wars defending Silvery Moon against some orcish hordes about a decade ago.
Okay. You say it says something about movement out of Silvery Moon.
Whatever the Harper whatever they were doing out of here, it had to do with movements between this location and Silvery Moon for whatever their operation was. Whereas the cultist letter boldly says that they were operating, they were doing something in Parnast.
Okay.
Now, the arcane symbols on the wall, they are numbered. The ones that aren't damaged are numbered 1 to 4. The 5th one that is damaged is numbered 5, but they don't specifically say anything else about where they might go.
Okay. So do we want to...
Nothing on the walls, nothing.
Just the number and the arcane symbols.
Okay.
Um.
I mean, we can pick one and try and go through.
Yeah.
Or we just go back to the party.
Oh my god.
Don't know what else you expected from us.
This is like the latent fear. I was like, oh my god.
So can I test again? Can I the same one that Kai's robe went through? Can I just take a pen? If there's a stick or a pencil at the desk or something, and just sort of gently poke through. See if it does that again.
Well, like you could throw like the wadded up, a ball of paper, one of the wadded up letters, and just toss it through.
Yeah.
And you do.
Actually, what I want to test is if we stick something through there, can it come back in?
Oh.
Does it pull? I guess it doesn't.
Let's say you strip the sheets off of the bed.
Okay, sure.
You strip the sheets, the blanket off the cot, and you whip it through one of the arcane circles. Which one do you whip it through?
The same one.
So like I think he was in front of the number 1.
Yeah.
So you whip it through and you pull it back and it comes back fine. It has a few leaves under it now.
Haha.
Ah.
I'm gonna stick my head through. Stealthily.
You peek your head through.
What do I see?
1 second. You poke your head through and you see this.
Ooh. Snag it.
Shiny.
A large, like your head is like in the middle of this large glowing circle of arcane arcs. It's nighttime. There is some few trees surrounding this location, but as you look around, and it's harder to see because there's a little bit of fog. It's nighttime, but it is a full moon. So you see in the distance, there's sign of mountains, and you feel like from the blowing of the wind and the cragginess that's otherwise surrounding this little kind of plateau where the circle is, you are somewhere in the mountains.
Okay. So, I can we stick our head through each one of these, I guess, and just take a peek?
I think that's what we need to do.
That's
If
it,
these
yeah.
are portals to different places, then we need to buy this tavern.
You're gonna make a fortune.
Right. So what, you poke your heads through number 2?
Yeah.
You poke your head through number 2, and you look around, and it's dark, but you have dark vision, and you're pretty sure you are in a closet, a cupboard. There are stacks of parchment bound on the walls. There seems to be inkwells, a different rolled up maybe scrolls, some rulers, and chalk.
Can I grab one of the scrolls?
There's
Are
a
they-
mop and bucket. You unroll the scroll, and it seems to be blank vellum.
Okay. So we're in some
Is
sort of school?
Stationery cupboard.
Well, I was going to say, is there a door out of it, or is this the only door?
There is a door
into it?
out of this closet, out of this cupboard-like space.
We'll head out on the other side.
Make a perception check. Or it's like Yelena, you're the one who's poked your head through. Has everybody poked their head through, or is it just Yelena?
Well, it depends. If it's a cupboard, is there going to be room for us all?
Just three
heads.
It's like the friends Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
through a door.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Boop, boop, boop. Everybody's peeping. But like 19's enough. Yelena, outside of this closet, this cupboard, you hear some sounds of some urgent talking, but you can't make out what it is. It's like some people kind of talking urgently, whispering. They're being secretive.
Okay.
But there's someone
intriguing.
outside of wherever this cupboard is. Not directly outside of it. So placing it, they seem to be some distance away, but it's enough that you, with your keen rangery ear holes, that are not suffering from any kind of kind of ailments with the vestibular canal whatsoever. You're
Dizzy
picking up. With no signs of vertigo, you're picking up the sounds of there's like some urgent whispering somewhere outside. They're not directly in front of this cupboard door,
Okay.
but there's someone in whatever space is beyond that door.
I'm going to say that we don't need to encounter people right now. We'll make a note of that.
Yep.
And we
On
will
it.
check out portal number 3.
You poke your head in, and seems to be a not exactly, it's not like a cupboard, but it is a small space. Like, you think that only one person could fit into it at a time if you were to move all the way through. Like, and the walls are stone and they're very close to you, and it's like a close, almost like stone roof overhead. It's only about 3 feet above your head.
Do I hear anything?
Make another perception check.
Ugh. Nope.
You can't quite make anything out. It's a little bit weird. You're having trouble trying to place like what kind of the configuration might be of these close stone walls.
Okay. Well, I turned to Terel and Kai. It's like, well, I can't make out what that is. Do you want to stick your head in there and take a look? See if you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, do we see any doors or do you see any doors out of it?
I don't think
Did I
didn't.
just miss that?
With her perception check of 8, I'm gonna say there's no readily apparent doors like there was with the cupboard. And with the 8 perception, she can't pick out immediately like where you go in this stone surrounding. But that doesn't mean that someone else can't, discern more. If they want to take a peek-see.
I gesture at Kai and cast guidance.
You shove Kai's head through the
Yeah.
through the circle.
Right, so I do
And this is the third one, the one labeled number 3.
Yeah, perception, yes?
Yes.
Hey.
Much better.
So Kai,
Don't need the D4 then.
you peep in and you look around these stone walls that Yelena had described, and you look ahead, and with your elvish ears, you pick up something like there's a little bit of like dust coming through, maybe some cracks overhead, and you think like, oh, this is some kind of container, like another chunk or something, or yeah.
Okay.
So potentially another
just
passage into this.
push the lid off. You just push the lid off.
Push the lid off and it leads to somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Do we want to see if we can hear it on the other side of that?
Yeah. Is there any noises?
I was saying there it is very still. You aren't picking up any noises from the immediate surrounding.
Shall I?
But you are in like this kind of like stone surround, so the stone's probably muffling it a bit.
Okay. Shall I just go to whatever it is and just gently push just to see if I can have a peek? A peek through a little tiny crack just to see?
The Pass Without Trace lasts for an hour, correct?
Yeah, as long as Yelena's
so make a stealth check, but you're still plus 10.
Yes.
Push aside the stone, and with a 27, it doesn't even make it doesn't scrape at all. It's like whisper soft. And you push the stone aside, and you realize you're in a sepulcher of some sort. It's like you're stepping out of a crypt, and or you're not stepping out of a crypt, you're stepping out of like a coffin, a stone
A sarcophagus.
sarcophagus, and you are in a crypt. It's quiet. There are other plaques on the wall, signs of like of vaults where people have been buried, and they all have a common last name. That of,
Okay.
and it's a name you recognize. Fan.
Okay.
And you see that there is a slight, tiny hallway and another door that leads beyond. You peer over the side of the sarcophagus, and you see it is labeled Lord Danilo Fan. So all the names in here are for Fan family people.
Okay. Right, okay. So I'll go back and I relay that to Yelena and Terel. And suggest that we move on to the next one.
Sure.
Number 4.
So, poking your head into number 4, it's another smaller chamber. It seems like number 1 was the only one that was so extravagant in its arcane circle at the other end of the line. This one is another closed-in space, but it's not as claustrophobic as the sarcophagus or the cupboard. It has a bench in it, covered in velvet. It is a very light blue velvet, and there's like golden wood surrounding you, and the walls aren't solid. They seem to be more like a wicker or something that's been punch ventilated with little carvings, tiny carvings in the wood to make like little teeny sunburst symbols in the wood. And it's like a thin kind of veneer, so it kind of hides who is in, and it kind of makes it not very clear that somebody is within this space, but it is not airtight either. It's not super silent. You hear in the distance a few steps, like people walking, a few creaks of wood. You can make a perception check.
Who went in this
All
one?
of
Was it
us.
Yelena again? or-
Yelena.
Anyone who went in. Okay. So Yelena, you pick up the scent of incense floating in the air. And Yelena, you make a stealth check.
Oh no! Oh shit!
No. You get an inspiration though.
That's right. I think I'll use that.
Yeah, give yourself another inspiration. Yeah.
I've got one. Can I use it?
You can use an inspiration, the one you already had, to re-roll.
Yeah, let me do that. That is so much better. Okay.
Yay.
So, no one has detected that you were there, but you hear signs that you hear the sounds like there was someone very close just to the right of the bench through one of these like slightly kind of like pixelated walls. I want to call it pixelated. I know there's a better term to describe this kind of like wicker-like perforated wall, and you can see the outline. There is a figure seated next to you. You see the outline of a figure seated there, but they have not noticed that you're peeping around in this chamber.
Okay. I pull my head back out, and I'm like, okay, so I describe what I see, and I'm like, it's not nearly as secluded as the other ones. There's somebody in there in a chair on the outside of that wall. We're going to be seen if we go into there, but it looks like I guess I'm assuming it's a temple of some sort.
I suppose with incense that would make sense.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, while you guys think about what you've discovered through these 4 teleportation circles, before we pick that up again, let's take a little adventurous break.
Okie
Alrighty.
dokie.
And you can ruminate on your discoveries while we break.
Okay. Back in a bit.
So, we went to a little adventurous break. You had discovered 4 what seemed to be teleportation portals to various locations. The first seemed to be in the mountains, out in the open. The second was a cupboard that seemed to have supplies in it for writing and whatnot, and there did seem to be people in the room outside the cupboard but not close by. The third seemed to be in a crypt belonging to the Fan family. And the fourth was potentially in a temple of some sort.
Right. So you say number
Yeah.
5 is being scratched off.
And number 5 has been damaged. It's when you touch it, it is solid wall and doesn't do anything.
Right.
We have some, from what we've seen an outdoor cool portal.
And
We're in a
seem to be in surrounded by mountains.
in a cupboard with writing supplies, so it's probably some sort of
School.
scholarly type
Yeah.
institution. Third is
A crypt.
the crypt. And fourth is temple. What would do we have enough
It's all
information to
connection.
make a guess at what 5 might be from that information? If we did some sort of, is there any way we can make some sort of, where else would you need a portal to go to?
Is there anything on these arcane circles that are different for each one?
You have noticed that they're all like, you all think they're conjuration spell, and now that you know that they seem to be teleportation circles, that's how you're like, okay, well I did they were obviously for conjuration. So the spell of this circle is to conjure the teleportation circle, and they're permanent circles. So as a wizard, even though you don't know how to cast the spell, and it's not really something you would normally be interested in because teleportation circles aren't known to kill people, you know that to have a permanent one, it requires having a wizard on site inscribing the spell multiple times, like daily for like a year to make it permanent. And that's a fairly powerful spell. Like, you're like, well, you don't know how to do it. And, you know, if you want to be like big about it, you're like, well, I could if I wanted to, but kneeling in the back of your head, you think, well, I'm not sure I could yet, but I'm like really close. But who would want to, because it's like not an evocation spell. There's no fire involved, so why would you want to?
Okay. Yeah, very true.
Don't go boom.
But they are slightly different. And you think that has something to do with the destinations.
And that makes sense.
But Kai, I mean, you can make an Arcana check, but it is very difficult given that you do not know how to do this spell. A 15 is not sufficient.
Remind us, right, you said we recognise the name Than. I've checked my notes, I can't find the name. I could have spelt it wrong. So
It rings a bell with me.
yeah, remind me who Than is.
Make a history check, y'all. I mean, this is really
Wait,
easy.
Isn't it Belliphaun's last name?
Yes, it is Lady Belliphauna.
Okay, thank
listening.
God.
Oh my
See,
god!
I knew it. I knew it.
I know I've heard it somewhere.
I've obviously just put Belliphauna all the way through my notes. Right.
Exactly the same thing. It was like, well, maybe I
So-
know this.
Does that mean that crypt comes out in Parnast? Which means we can skip the rest of the trip and just go straight there.
Good.
Also, we've gone through this and obviously come back through. Is that only because we've gone through the portal? If we went to wherever this site, any of these places are, would we lose the ability to go back through? Is any, how are we getting back through? If we physically travel to the locations, would we be able to
Right,
find
is
a
it-
way back into
Is it
this
a
cellar?
one-way trip, or is it a
Yeah.
permanent door?
Is there any way we can tell that?
Kai, I would just say flat out without a rule that Kai, given that the one that Yelena described in the mountains was in a large circle that seemed like it was also like a teleportation structure, like an arcane circle, you think that that one seems like it has a good chance that it's like a two-way kind of situation. But you're not sure. You didn't get to really explore the other places in detail enough. There wasn't, because they were more closed in. You're not certain.
Right. So we've potentially got a one-way passage to Parnast if we wanted to.
And I'll say, like, Kai also reasons, like, just from peeping in, that you haven't actually really... You've peeped in, but you have not traveled all the way. So you feel like you have not fully engaged the circles.
So we could potentially, one of us step through for a couple of minutes and then see if we can get back. And then if we can't, someone else could come through, sort of like stick their arm through or the head through, and maybe that would allow us to then pass back through.
Yeah, split the party. Yeah, that's a plan. Mm-hmm.
Always a good plan.
It's a wonderful plan.
It depends on how much we want to test it, or if we would just want to take into account where we think they go at the moment, and then... Because I'd be interested in talking to Belliphauna to see where if she knows where her
Yeah.
family crypt is, and if it is in Parnast, we could. Man, we can't really get everyone else down here, though, can we?
What do we know anything about the guy that was guarding that room? Our buddy Greg.
Just Greg,
No.
there's a half-orc guy, Greg the bouncer. He seemed like a
Greg
local.
Bouncer.
He's a beefy guy, but you didn't notice anything else extraordinary about him. You didn't talk to him very much.
That's true. We could go up and start asking questions. Try and find out how long who owns this now.
Yeah.
How long they've owned it. Do they know the previous owners?
Did you know this was down there?
Did you know there's a weird...
Somebody
pause-
obviously knows.
I mean, why is he guarding it? Yeah, exactly.
I mean, is it a smuggling ring, you think? The Harpers are spies, right? They're espionage.
Well,
Yeah,
the
but are they
Harpers,
do-gooders?
those who harp, yeah, they're kind of spies, but they're they're like a secretive adventuring organization.
Mm-hmm.
Not I mean,
Not
kind
loud and out there like us.
kind of like the Emerald Enclave, but like a totally different flavor. And make a history check, Yelena. Okay, you remember nothing about the Harpers that might be helpful. Other than you just know that they tend to be secretive, and they don't openly usually carry them about as Harper, unlike the Emerald Enclave, where like Terel has like a symbol on her armor that shows her affiliation and stuff. So they're not wearing patches, but it's not like sometimes people do, especially if they are. Sometimes people do have Harper pens, so it's not completely unheard of, but there's also a long history of Harpers going around undercover to infiltrate things and try to gather information. But you know of them as like a heroic organization that's typically trying to battle things like cults and dark powers and similar things to what the Emerald Enclave combats. There are slightly different values though.
Okay.
And they're certainly not as like out in the open as something like the Lord's Alliance that's like just tells everybody, I'm with the Lord's Alliance and listen to me, and like Lord Jomont.
Because I think if this is some sort of Harper owned setup, I get the sense that they're not the Zentarum. They're not evil, right? It's something that we might be able to negotiate usage of and not have to sleep at.
Yeah, like from what you know, they're definitely not the Zentarum. If anything, the Harpers are an organization that one of their constant activities is trying to counter the machinations of the Zentarum.
All right. Should we go back up and out and mingle?
I mean, I think it's worth, trying to get some more information.
Buy Greg a drink.
Yeah.
If he'll take one.
Okay, so you leave the circles, and you head up the stairs, back to the cloakroom. Let's say you still have a few minutes left on your Pass Without a Trace. You peer past the curtain. Greg is back in his post, leaning against the wall next to the curtain. You hear like there is some ruckus. There are people coming back into the tavern, and it looks like you look closer at Greg and you're peering, and you see that he has some scratches now, and there's like a little bit of blood. And Lady Belliphauna scurries across the room, and she comes up to them and like, are you okay? Do you need some healing? Are you all right? I mean, that was crazy. Imagine, like, it was so lucky that those squirrels made everybody race outside when they did. Because otherwise, I think that mimic would have eaten Terry.
What mimic?
I think we missed something.
Think we did.
Make a stealth check. Let's see if Terel says what mimic out loud.
What, did she run up to us and tell us?
She ran up to Greg. She was like offering him healing.
Right, okay. Oh shit.
Are we still under Pass Without a Trace?
You're still
there?
under Pass Without Trace.
Okay.
Oh, thank God for that.
So let me do one thing. Greg does not notice you, but let's see if Lady Belliphauna does. Nat one for her, so she doesn't notice you either. So you don't make a peep, but like the two of you see like Terel's eyes kind of bulge a little bit at the sound of like what mimic. But you see people like gradually coming in the door, and they all look like they've had a big fright. And there's some people kind of like helping a limping Terry come back into the inn, and he's really messed up. And not long behind him, you see a limping Sprinkles, and Lord Jomont and Garen are with her. And you see Garen is like doing some cleric-y business trying to heal her wounds, but she has a lot of singed feathers and fur.
Oh, yeah.
And
I go running over to Sprinkles and do lay on hands.
So you run out of the closet, out of the cupboard, out of the
Yeah, screw it.
skirt. So you run out and you hear like Greg like, "Oh, what's? Hey, what are you doing back there?" Hold a moment.
I'm going to turn to Greg and say, I've got questions for you, and point at him.
Do an
Wait
intimidation
there.
check.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes!
Yeah, there we go.
21, his eyes get big and he's like, "Oh, yes, sir." All right. Oh. But you see, as he says that, he looks over the bartender. The bartender's crossing his arms, and he's like putting away his dish towel, and he's coming around the bar because he says a stern look for the three of you. But
Right.
he's gonna approach Greg as well, and the two of you. But you go running up to Sprinkles, and Sprinkles, she starts doing her hand motions for danger.
Mm-hmm. I cast Speak with Animals.
Wow! I found something.
What did you find? What the hell happened?
Well, the pig's gone. Fred's dinners. But there was a building. That wasn't a building. It was hiding as a building. It was actually a monster.
Wow, how big do mimics get?
Oh, really?
Pretty big. It was big enough it almost ate me.
Well, I'm really glad it didn't.
Well, it was helpful because there were people outside and they saw that we were having trouble, so they came and ran and helped.
Well, that's good.
Kind of saves my bacon, but not Fred's. And Sprinkles does a little like grr, hoot, 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 because she's made a joke.
I check her over, just make sure she's...
Where have you been?
Well, we were investigating something else.
You wouldn't send me off to get eaten.
I did not get you sent off to be eaten. I thought you could find Fred and do Terry a favour while we investigated something else, and it's like, get two jobs done at once.
Well, I did that, but I don't know. I don't think I'm ready to do things on my own like that. Because this was a lot.
If I'd have known there was a mimic the size of a house, I would not have sent you.
All right. Well, if you promise next time there's a mimic the size of the house, you won't send me to go
I promise.
find it. I'm not quite that big yet. And it was very surprising.
I mean, you obviously handled it very well.
Do you think I can get some, like a treat?
I look around for large meat treat to pass to Sprinkles.
Like, maybe an orc?
An orc?
Yeah! And she blinks at you, like, innocent like, but she's also kind of getting eyes to the bouncer.
Maybe not an orc, because it looks like he works here, and I don't think the owner would be happy if we ate his staff.
Oh, man.
I know.
I guess I'll settle for some...
I grab a tray of sausages.
Okay, I'll settle for sausages.
Alright, I nick one before I pass her this tray of sausages.
She eats, like, the entire tray of what remains of sausages.
I do not blame her.
So, people are working their healing, and you see that Sprinkle's wounds are getting tended to by Garen Ravenshield. Lady Belliphauna is, like, seeing to the bouncer, but she's also kind of like looking around like, what is going on? She's not moved since she knows that there's some kind of drama unfolding with Terel wanting to talk to the bouncer and the owner's coming over. She's like, I want to see what happens. And you see that Terry's getting tended to as well, but
Okay.
he's kind of like really depressed about his pig. The owner approaches before you return, Terel, and he looks at Yelena and Kai, and he has his arms crossed. What seems to be the issue?
Well, it's not really an issue. We're just really curious about that passage in the trunk in your cloakroom that leads to 4 portals.
And he wrinkles his nose. He's like, oh, you nosy customers.
It's kind of a hazard of the occupation of the job, you know.
Yeah.
It's never occurred to you that people have things marked or people garden things for no trespassing for good valid reasons. We're not all up to shenanigans. It's like,
I mean,
come on, and he ushers you back behind the curtain. Lady Belliphauna tags along behind because she's nosy.
And that's good. She needs to see this.
she does.
And
And I think we say that, hey, we have a relative here of one of the owner of one of the portal end doors.
Portal indoors? What are you talking about?
Talking about the crypt.
What crypt?
Your crypt.
My crypt? What? Am I dead? What? What's happening?
No.
What is going
Your
on?
family.
Where's your family crypt?
Well, there's a family crypt into there where my family's main vineyard is, and then there's one in Waterdeep.
Okay. Well,
Two
fair
options.
stuff.
Wow, we've got
Oh, yeah.
two crypts. They've got money.
Okay. Well,
I mean, okay, I know that I don't have a lot of money, but yeah, Granny and everybody else, my uncle, they have money. Yeah, they're super loaded. This is this is like a project for me. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I point to the chest, which I'm assuming is shut again now.
Well, the owner, whose name is Garwin, like Gharwin, he opens it right up and he ushers everybody down. He's like, "Get on down there," and he like shakes a finger at Greg and he's like, "Don't let anybody else past. Don't let them get nosy. If anyone asks where this lot is gone, you tell them they went cleaning up after the mimic. Got it?"
I'm just going to say over my shoulder going down the stairs, maybe you should think about getting someone else to guard your door.
I'm seriously considering it.
I mean, I would. He was very easily
Lord.
distracted.
This is my sister's boy.
Well,
This is what
family,
happens when you
yeah, all
hire.
right.
Yeah, it's what happens when you hire in the family.
I understand.
This is exactly what I want to avoid. Questions, unlicensed traffic. Now,
Look, we're not intending to cause trouble.
I
We
have to
don't want to cause.
consider exactly what your motivations and purposes are. Because last time I caught anybody sneaking around these portals, they did not have exactly good intentions.
Have we told them? I guess we just tell them that our caravan is trying to get to Parnast, etc., etc.
Yeah, and we just.
Belliphauna, we are totally trying to get to Parnast. Yeah. What does this have
Yeah.
to do with Parnast, though?
Well, we kind of. One of the portals leads to a crypt that is your family's crypt, and we were kind of wondering if it was in Parnast and would cut down a hell of a lot of travelling.
No, it's definitely not Parnast. I'm
Well,
the first of my family who's ever been to Parnast. I don't think
Okay.
most of my family would be caught dead there. Oh, no, I'm the only person, the only fan who's ever been to Parnast. And I don't think they have any, well, how old was the crypt? Because I think there's a crypt, but it was kind of damaged when the tower fell on it. Yeah, I'm not sure they have a crypt in Parnast. Like, the crypty crypt. What did it look like?
Oh, so we'll just turn to the inn owner, and I don't know if we want to slip him some coin or something to just show, hey, we're sorry, and look, we don't really have bad intentions here.
He notices the Emerald Enclave insignia that, the patches, both like on Terel's armor and, I don't know if Yelena has any kind of like badge on her, like green leather. It might ruin the whole look, but he knows
It's emerald,
at least it's emerald leather. He at least notices that Terel has some badges. He's, look, these circles were made a long time ago by a previous, well, associated with the previous owner. there was an archmage with the Harpers named Crowin Valharrow. Made the circles. Now, the Harpers in their time used them as a bit of quick travel network. But depending on the pressures and their activities, it's fallen out of use lately, and it hasn't really been, seen the traffic for years and years, as far as I know. But I've only owned this tavern for maybe 6 years, and when I bought it, I caught some disreputable types sneaking in, using the portals for their own designs. I had to recruit a whole lot of help to get them out. And the most nefarious circle that had the most nefarious deeds at the other end of it, we destroyed it. It used to go to the Sword Mountains.
That answers that question.
Opened up into
It
a
does.
dungeon, that one. But, who needs to go to a dungeon? So, wrecked it. The Harpers are aware that these are here, but, until they find some use to travel through them again, I have taken a small, reasonable annual stipend to maintain some control and observation over whoever may try to utilize them.
Okay.
I will be reporting this back to my Harper contact.
That's fine. Maybe you
Sure.
should tell them that you need more security for it.
I absolutely will. And they'll have
I mean,
to pay for it.
Let's
I
be
do
honest.
think.
Well, to be honest, this is a money-making opportunity for you.
Well, that's a nice way of framing it. I think I maybe it
You
is
can-
an
you can charge-
opportunity.
You charge admission to if people need to get shortcuts someplace.
Maybe I can do a bit of remodeling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
new business.
Get some
So
new
would-
axes from you all.
Would you mind? Do you know exactly where each portal goes out? Because we think we know where number 1 goes.
I'm not sure about all of them. I know. Well, this first one. Well, that was the one. The first one, and the one that was vandalized. Those are the ones that the nefarious types used. They were with the
Right.
Cult of the Dragon. They like those two.
I mean, that makes sense from what they told us in Loudwater said
But-
that there was potentially cultists in the north of Albar.
You mentioned Parnast. And he scratches his head. I'm going to roll a history check for him. Oh no. I don't know why that reminds me of something, but I can't place it. It's on the tip of my brain. But the fifth circle was definitely the Sword Mountains.
Okay.
Do a history check, Yelena, with advantage.
All right. Oh, cool.
Alas.
Alas.
You have heard of the Sword Mountains, and it's on the tip of your brain why you remember the Sword Mountains, but you can't exactly place why that means something to you. But that's the portal that's been destroyed, so you figure it's not your problem.
Fair enough. So he no? I'm sorry. Did I miss that? He said where number 1 opens up to again? I know it's the Cult of the Dragon used it,
Yeah, he just says that the Cult of the Dragon used
so he
it.
doesn't know where it opens up to.
He's not sure where the other ones go, but Lady Belliphauna says, are you saying that one of these goes to a family crypt? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yes.
Yes, that's probably the safe one.
Kai, what did it look like?
A crypt.
That's super helpful, Kai.
It was very, very quiet.
Did you see any names? Like any specific
Yes.
names?
All the names were Than.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
there was
they
one,
would
wasn't
be
there?
in my family crypts.
There was one specifically that was at the end, and I didn't write that one down.
Oh, on the sarcophagus thing.
demo somewhat over it?
It's
DM's gonna have
gone.
to remind us.
Well,
We did. We definitely got a name.
I'm telling you, the only places where I have family crypts, one is in Tathir in the River Ith Valley. That's where my parents are buried. But there's also a decent-sized crypt in the City of the Dead in Waterdeep.
Well, does our proprietor here mind if we go down and take another look?
Yeah.
You're down in the room now with the circles.
Okay, or
and
does he
you're
mind
all
if
in
we-
there.
Poke our heads in here for a second. I don't want to go into 2 and 4 right now because there's people around, but 3 seemed very. I mean, unless there's somebody hanging out in a crypt,
I mean,
we're not likely
it
to
happens,
disturb anybody.
but
And that's the one that's most related to us, due to Belliphauna''s presence. So, and she should take a look and see if she recognizes any of the names.
All right.
Then we will figure out where that one goes.
So you want Lady Belliphauna to stick her head in some of these?
Just this one, just
the crypt.
no, for right now.
The crypt one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we still don't know what's going on here.
So, and I should ask, when you were poking around Kai and you opened up the sarcophagus and looked around, did you close it after you?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Always close it after me.
All right. So, so you kind of you nudge Lady Belliphauna. Do you send her on her own?
No, I think
No.
one of us can go in with her.
Okay, who goes with Lady Belliphauna?
Okay, do you want to go in because you went in, or do you want me to go in?
Well, I can go if you like. Yeah.
You and Lady Belliphauna poke your heads back in the sarcophagus. You show her pushing the lid aside, and you poke down you poke it. You point your fingers at the names and the one on the side, and it's. And now that you see it, it reads Danilothan, and you're like, oh, okay, that's Uncle Danilo. Yeah, this is Waterdeep. And as she says, this is Waterdeep. Make a perception check. I will roll for Lady Belliphauna as well. All right, both of you kind of look at each other because you hear outside of this crypt. It's the same as before. It's this chamber, and there is a door, and there's stone doors. But even though there are stone doors, you hear some kind of unnatural snarling and shrieking in the distance beyond this crypt, somewhere in the graveyard beyond. Not
right,
too far away. You'd say it's maybe 100 feet away.
Okay, so
She said, "What's that? Should we check that out?"
no. Let's just go. I'll turn around and push it back through the sarcophagus and shut the bloody door.
Kai, that sounded like I don't know. That sounded terrible.
Yeah.
We've dealt with undead enough recently.
She does an insight check. She doesn't know what it is. She's like, that did not sound good.
No,
I mean, this is a graveyard. There should be dead people. They shouldn't be making sounds like that.
She's not wrong.
She looks at Terel because she thinks he might be the most reasonable person. I think there's something terrible in the graveyard. A dead thing, a monster. They could be Zelbrost or something.
Well, they can stay there. We can shut the door and
Not have to worry about them.
leave it.
But that's...
We don't have to go back.
Okay. Oh, yeah, it is kind of a large city, and they should be able to handle their own problems.
They should. We're trying to not open too many cans of worms here.
And she just kind of... She deflates a little. She just kind of sits on the floor cross-legged. She's like, okay, so...
We've got our own
That goes to Waterdeep.
That goes to Waterdeep. Good to know.
Number
And
3.
Mr. Proprietor here.
Maybe someone write that down. Number 3 goes to Waterdeep.
Yep.
In a crypt where monstrous things are happening. But it's not our problem.
Well, not right
Not
now.
yet. No.
Not yet.
No.
It might be later.
Right. So
There's always tomorrow.
What else have you got?
we know number 1's up in the mountains. We think it's up past Albar. Is that the correct, or is it further up into the Grey Mountains?
You just know it's in the mountains. Technically, you shouldn't know what mountains it's in. It's just I forgot to hide the name of the map.
So, but yeah,
You know
I mean,
it's in the
we need to-
mountains.
yeah.
You know it's in some mountains.
In some mountains. Okay. Number 3 is Waterdeep. So I turn to the tavern keeper. What about number 2? Because I point to Yelena. She could hear people talking on the other side of the door. We're really curious about where that is.
I don't use these personally.
Yeah.
I just know
Okay.
what I'm told.
So
And
right now-
when they destroyed the one to the Sword Mountains, they said why they destroyed it.
Right.
Number 1, the cultist of the dragon, they used that one too. 1 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
Just 1 and 5.
But I don't know anything else about where they go exactly. Places where harpers want to go quickly.
Makes sense
Okay.
about Waterdeep.
Do we know anything that might suggest where number 3 could be? No, sorry, number 2 could be then. If we know about Harper's.
Well, you hypothesized it was in a school.
Yeah.
Right, I had a mop and a bucket, and scrolls, and
But
other
the amount that you
writing.
looked around, you just have this idea that it's some kind of school.
right
You know, like a lot of
Or,
places have
sort of-
schools, but
assembly type. Maybe do they have a headquarters?
if they have those kind of supplies, it's probably in a larger city. And since the other one goes to Waterdeep, it's probably not Waterdeep.
Right. Good.
Makes sense.
Oh, are the Harpers headquartered anywhere?
Well, I think there are a lot of places. I mean, there's definitely Harpers in Waterdeep. Like my uncle Danilo, he was totally a Harper back in the day, but that was 100 years ago. He's dead, but apparently not buried in Waterdeep like everybody assumed he was. I wonder where his body is.
All right. Can I sneak my head into number 2 and see if I can hear anything?
So you poke your head back in the cupboard.
I cast guidance.
Thank you. Do I need to do a check?
Do a perception
one-
check.
So that should give you. Oh, hang on. His guidance, perception, abilities or checks.
Guidance will help with a check. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
You know, we need a long rest at some point because I've used all my spell slots.
No. Okay. We're gonna
No.
cycle of inspiration. Can I
Yeah.
Wait, it says
Perception.
use, but then it says gained.
Yeah. Well, I used one, but then I get one.
Oh yeah,
right?
you get one. That's right. I'm sorry.
See, I'm gonna have this constant cycle of going through them. There probably should be
Usually
like
when you roll a 1.
That's kind of
Yeah.
why I like that temporary rule. I don't know if it actually applies to D&D 2024, but it was in the test stuff, and I like it for natural ones. But yeah, roll again.
not much,
All right.
Right, you can add a 1d4 to that.
Yeah,
Okay.
from the guidance. Okay, so 15.
Alright.
So 15 is what you were looking for.
Oh God.
So you hear voices. They're still in the distance, and they're a little bit louder. There's still this kind of hushed urgency about it, and there seems to be at least 3 voices, and they are chanting. You don't really recognize what they're saying. You think it is some arcane words, and you again smell incense. But there's chanting, and then there's the sound of a magical, some magical energy. like kind of being unleashed. And then silence for a few seconds. And this is still, you're gauging from the 15 that they're maybe at least like 50, 60 feet away from you, where this, you're not like right next to them, but you think it's maybe like maybe in an antechamber from where your closet opens up to. But after these few seconds of silence, you hear a kind of snarling sound and some gasps, and someone else starts, and it's a young voice, and they start like kind of shrieking out nervously some more commands in some language you don't understand. But the snarling gets louder.
Someone's spell went wrong.
Is it some wizard's guild?
I mean, if they're doing spells like that would suggest it, wouldn't it?
You can peer out the closet, but from inside the closet, you just hear that you think that you hear someone casting a spell, and there's some kind of, again, maybe not a good thing, a good sound, the kind of sound you want to have happening.
Right. I think I'm going to dip out there. I don't want these bad things seeing me and then realizing, oh, there's a door there. Because then we're bringing trouble here, which we really didn't want to do. So.
All right. So it's not your problem yet.
It's not my problem yet. As much as it bothers me.
But you still think, what?
There's no stationary or...
Oh, well, let me say, I forgot that part. With the 15, you pick up a piece of the paper and you see like the ribbon that is holding it down is stamped, and it says Eric Amanitas Adventuring University.
I take that.
Everybody can do a history check unless somebody has some idea of what that might be.
I know the name of Manitas, but that could be from somewhere else. Actually, no, that can't be right. I know nothing.
Lady Belliphauna doesn't know anything either. Kai, though, because Kai knows more about everything than anybody. Kai's like, oh, that spot is in Succumber. That's the Adventuring University in Succumber. You guys didn't go there, but he heard about it because I think when he was buying spells at the that little junior alchemist shop, the guy said that anything over level 2 or anything over level 1 maybe needed to be inscribed at the university by students or professors if he wanted something that wasn't like immediately in the shop's inventory. So Kai can places it. He's like, oh,
so that's not good because he's back the way we came.
School cupboard in Succumber.
Right. Okay.
So that is number 2.
We're not entirely sure where 1 is apart from mountains. We know where 2 is. We know where 3 is. 4's a temple. There was someone there, so we don't want to risk really being spotted and risking it again.
Is there, so giving it some thought, do we know what that little compartment was that we stepped into?
Make an insight check. Anyone who wants to think about what that compartment might have been.
Ow!
All of you. So you're like,
Okay,
you're
now.
sitting there.
Oh,
It's kind of like in Adventures Endgame when like Black Widow and whoever else who's not important is like lying there trying to think of like how they're going to do the time heist.
How dare you say Black Widow isn't important?
No, whoever else was there. Whoever else. Everyone but Black Widow.
Okay.
She
Yeah,
had the
she was
idea.
like-
So this is what I'm talking about. She actually had the brainstorm.
after she was crying in peanut butter.
Yeah, after she was crying in peanut butter. She's the one who had the idea that like in New York there was all this kind of stuff happening at the same time. And it was perfect for the time heist. So you guys are like that. You're all Black Widow on the table, suddenly having this brainstorm, and you're like, "Oh, it's a church, it's a temple. What if that was a confessional booth?"
Ah.
So the guy sitting next to us is probably a priest. Whatever that figure was, probably a priest.
He was probably taking a nap, I guess.
They probably either taking a nap or we were being super stealthy at that point. But you know, if somebody was in there, probably wouldn't think much of it. You know, because there's supposed to be people in there, right? Doing their
Right.
confession.
You don't want someone popping up when there's already someone in there, though.
That's true, but you can give a peep.
Can we just stick an ear through? Do we have like one of those little horn things we can
You put a little. Yeah, like
Wait a
just
minute. Have we got detachable ears? I feel like we've got detachable ears that we can listen.
I think maybe you might have some ears that you cut off a shape changer, but I don't think they have any listening properties all on their
I
own.
feel
No, but
I know. I feel like we've done something like this before. We've sent ears out, unless I've dreamt it.
Do we have a familiar that can sneak in there? Do we have?
I've got-
I can't remember if we've got a familiar.
Kai, do you have a
got my-
familiar?
I've got my jade staff that can turn
Oh,
into a
that's
snake.
what you did. You have
Ah.
a snake that did scouting.
Let me do that.
Okay, you summon your snake and you send them
Yeah.
through
Yeah, and I
the
say,
portal to the church.
just have a listen and look around and see if you can figure out where this place is.
Now, I think snakes are actually deaf, but he vibrate senses stuff. He senses
Okay.
vibrations, so he goes
Yeah.
into
So nothing useful. If you see any parchment, steal it.
Terrell stood there waggling waggling her tongue at the snake, communicating.
So she goes.
I'm saying nothing.
The snake goes into the confessional booth and slithers around a bit, comes back, and do you have any spell slots left for talk to animals?
Hang on.
I do.
Or you can try to like do snake pantomime.
I've got 2 left for level 1, so I can do speak with animals.
Okay, so somebody speaks with animals, and the snake tells you the coast is clear. It's empty right now. There's still a guy
Okay.
in the other booth, but it's otherwise empty. So you won't pop in on anyone.
Should one of us go through then and maybe see if we can get the priest to talk to us? Or
And-
just
and
try
then
and
the snake
sneak
says-
out of the booth?
The snake says, "I think I heard snoring, or some vibrations that are like snoring." The priest guy might be asleep. It is nighttime.
Boy, that's a sleeping in a confessional booth. That's no way to live.
Do you want to have a sneak in and see if we can spot out?
Yeah. Do you want me to try sneaking in?
You're the sneaky one.
I'll be the sneaky one. Okay.
All right.
We're going to spend 2 hours working out where these go and then not use them.
Yelena goes into portal number 4 into the confessional booth, and you're sitting on the little bench, just covered in light blue velvet, looking at the word that I've already forgotten, the little cutouts of little suns in the wood.
The little perforations.
The sun-shaped perforations in the wood that is surrounding this little chamber. You hear the very faint little whistle snore of the priest in the chamber next to you. And
Do we know if the sun is known with any specific religions?
religion check?
Oh, hang on. I might be good with that. Oh no.
Might still be working on it. I think you're working on getting proficient with religion.
Yeah, because it's currently crap, but these 2 are good.
You got a book. But Yelena, she connects that sun and the symbols and stuff. She thinks this might be a temple of the Morning Lord.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's reassuring. Nothing bad should be happening in this one.
But do we know where it is?
That's a good question.
Temple of the Morning Lord Roll a stealth check as well. I think at this point your pass without a trace is worn off. But a 21 is fine. You don't wake the priest up. And from your listening around, your general sense, like your passive perception, you feel like it sounds like it's pretty empty. The temple is pretty empty right now. You don't hear any sounds of people coming and going like you did before.
So I'm assuming there's an exit out of this?
Yeah, there's just like a little door. Like it's just
Yeah.
a little vestibule with a, one-person bench in it.
Can I poke my head through a little bit more out that door?
You poke your head out and you see like you're off to the side of a large temple with beautiful stained glass windows and high arching, whatever you call it, Gothic architecture kind of stuff. You're like in Notre Dame kind of situation. And it's a large temple. It is now very obviously a temple of the Morning Lord. There are large, ornate, carved wooden doors at the back that are currently shut. Braziers and things, ever-burning flames up at an altar at the front of it, and pews and etc. But it is empty.
Any programs lying around that might have the place's address on it?
No, it's not obvious from anything inside. But there is like, about it's like a going down. You'd have to like go down the aisle and walk out of the church. But they're like two large doors that seem to be the entrance to this temple. And there's other doors that kind of lead off, you think, that go like deeper into maybe chambers and rooms and places where maybe the priest of this temple reside and where they keep all their incense.
Well, can we use our snek? I have a speak with animal slot. Can our snek friend maybe try to get to the outside door?
So the speak with animals at this point is still just working, and you like be like, Snake, okay, can you go check outside the door for me and find out where we are? Is that what you're going for?
Yeah.
The snake's like, I don't think I can push that door open.
Boo, not sneaky, not slinky enough to get under it somehow.
I'll try, but if there's not a large enough hole, I can't push my way through it.
Fair enough.
So he slinks off. The snake slinks. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl snake, and I'm not going to look. But the snake slinks off, and it comes back a while. It's like, no, it's too tight. It's too airtight. I can't get through the door.
Okay. I mean, you could wake up the priest and ask him.
I guess so. I'm trying to be very sneaky. I don't know I'm sure he's a good guy, but I don't want to have to explain I got here through a magic portal, because he might not even know.
We don't have any sort of commando type stuff, do we? No, Kai? Do you have any manipulation type spells? Is that the question?
That would be useful. Does it kill people? No.
Okay.
I
mean, we could just leave it. We know it's a temple of Morning Lord.
Right. Stick a pin in it. Come back to that.
Yeah, I mean, based on the size of it, does it look like one of the major temples for the Morning Lords? In which case, would we be able to pin it down to a certain number of cities?
It's of a substantial size, so you think it has to be a large city.
Right.
You know? Yeah, it's definitely not a village temple.
So 1 went to unidentified mountains. Number 5 went to the mountains I can't remember. Sword Mountains.
Lady Belliphauna is like, what's taking so long?
I'm being sneaky. I've popped my head back in before I say that. I'm not saying that.
Well, what's the problem? Tell me, what do you see? What are you looking at? What's the situation?
It's a temple of the Morning Lord, probably a large city. There's a priest asleep in the confessional booth. I kind of feel like we shouldn't bother him right now, and I kind of don't want people to know that we know.
Are there like people there other
No,
than the
it's
priest?
Nope, it's empty.
Why don't you just go out the temple?
I guess I am sneaky enough. I could probably go out and. I don't know. Is it? Do temples always stay open? Is it? I mean, does it? Do I look nondescript enough? Anybody can wander
I
in
mean-
anytime and do a prayer. I guess. I don't know how
I
temples
think
work.
I don't know. If it's what's big, it's a big temple, right?
Right.
Usually, they're pretty open 24/7. I think, unless it's like a specific holiday or there's some sign that it's locked down. But if you've got a priest, like a sleeping priest, you said it was a confessional booth. If there's a guy on duty, then they've got to be open, because why would he be sitting there? He's like waiting for someone to show up and confess stuff about his crimes against light or something. I don't know what Morning Lord does. I'm not super.
Forgive me,
religious either.
Father. Forgive me, Father. I have sinned. We snuck into this other person's building and made use of their portal.
Oh, that sounds wrong.
Yeah. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
We ignored strange sounds in a university and a cemetery because we didn't want it to be our problem yet.
I guess this is the advantage of this one. There are no strange sounds yet.
Yeah, there's no strange sounds. It's very quiet,
Very quiet.
except for the little bit of snoring.
Shall we find out where this temple is then?
Yeah, does anybody else want to come through? I mean, Terel, if you come through, you're probably going to wake him up, but maybe that doesn't matter at this point. I don't know. Or I could pass.
I mean,
I've got another spell
I mean,
slot.
I feel like Kai's not potentially gonna know because you've come up from the Underdark and haven't really travelled around that much. I guess.
I don't think so.
So I guess me and Yelena are the most likely to recognise the city.
And if
Yeah, but I don't want to.
Do a history check, Terrell.
Okay.
Okay, that's not quite enough for.
Okay.
13. You're like trying to like think about like where this could go, what places have large temples to the Morning Lord, but you're like there's too many, and that's not really your jam.
Is my snake still out?
Yeah, your snake's still like slithering about, looking for like
Kiss.
what's next, boss?
Snek, I want you to quietly and carefully wrap yourself around the ears of that priest so he don't hear us moving around.
Oh God! Can you imagine if the poor bugger wakes up and he's got
Oh
a
my God.
snake wrapped around his head?
Let me get your
Look.
snake out.
Funny. Traumatized for life.
I don't want him to hear us.
Well, your snake is going to have to make a stealth check for that.
Oh bollocks! Right, we'll just risk it.
It'll be
I
funny.
could, yeah, I could take my armor off, but
Because
Risk it.
if he's literally draping himself over this priest's head to cover his ears, you got to see how delicately your snake does that. To see if the priest notices or gets a terrible surprise waking up.
we'll just risk it, and then if we wake him, I'll pretend I'm here to confess about something.
So snake yes or snake no?
Snake, no.
Okay. All right. So the three of you go through the portal. You want Lady Belliphauna to come too? Just kind of like, hey, you want me to come along? Like maybe I'll recognize something. I can
Sure,
sit
but
here
if
though.
it's
Like,
sure.
I'm fine. I mean, maybe like if somebody wants to go get me some of that really good pie. Is there any left?
No.
Kai, can you make more pie?
Tomorrow I will. Yeah.
Okay, I will not let you forget that.
Yeah, I've just noticed I've got a mincemeat pie in my inventory. That's been there since we started. It's going to be rank.
Probably.
Well,
not,
we've only
unless
been-
it's magical.
Yeah,
It's
but we've only
magical,
been on
it
the
will
road.
have.
We've only been on the road for like 2 days.
Yes.
So.
No, I think it's been like 2 weeks now. 3 weeks.
Yeah.
All right, come on. Me and Yelena, off we go.
I'm coming too.
Are you?
Don't leave me behind.
All right. But
I might be useful.
Lady Belliphauna is sitting down there. She's twiddling her thumbs. All right.
Alright.
Good luck.
She-
Don't get caught doing anything terrible.
She can come if she wants. If she thinks she might have an idea where it is, I don't mind.
I could be an alibi or something.
I just
Sure.
don't want us to get locked out of the tavern and
You
be
know.
ended up traveling
No,
across the
true. Well,
country again.
Privilege of nobility. I can just say that I'm doing important stuff, and maybe people will listen to me. You know, if I say it loud and convincingly enough. I don't know. I'm not always good at that, but hey.
Well, I'll stay behind then. Kyle, stay behind
Is there some
to
reason?
pull you through.
Wait, is there a limit on this thing?
But we don't know. I mean, do you know what? Let's ask the tavern keeper. So
Is
you
the tavern
said
keeper sitting there laughing at us?
probably.
Yeah.
He's making notes in a notebook.
You said that the cultists were using these portals. So could they just come and go as they pleased? You know, is it a case of once you've gone through and you know where the exit is, you can come back through?
Well, I don't think they were doing it all the time. I just caught a couple. You know, never more than 2. But
So does
I
that mean
don't
there's-
know. I mean, it's not like I use them, and I am not. He looks at you very sincerely and intently. I'm not a wizard, and I do not know how they work.
Insight check.
Right.
Sure, do an insight check.
So,
He
if
seems
we don't know,
earnest.
Sorry, say that again.
He
Sorry,
does
go on.
not. He really does. He doesn't seem to know how they work.
Right, okay. Go for it, Kai.
right. So, well, then, if we don't know how it works, we should stick together because if you all go through and can't come back, then I'm stuck by myself with the idiot tavern keeper.
You might have to be
Uh,
responsible
Exactly.
for whatever exciting happens the rest of the night.
Yeah. And that's not something that Kai's ready to deal with.
Then again, if you go through the portal, you might miss what? Maybe there's gambling opportunities. It is a tavern. There's lots of people around. Yeah.
Well,
And there'll be nobody
yeah.
tutting at you if you fleece anyone.
That's true, but I'll miss out on the paycheck.
Pros and cons. Pros and cons.
Yeah, pros and cons. So I don't know. What do you think? I think
Should we just all go and risk it?
yeah.
Screw
Yeah.
it.
Okay, all 3 of you
Alright.
go in.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've been able to stick our head in and stick it out
Yeah, you've all been able to pop your head in.
and out.
So you all go in physically, but then now there's 3 of you stuffed in this one confession booth that's like only meant for one person. So
We're all
you're
whispering
like,
really loud. You go out first!
you're wall to wall. Everybody do a stealth check.
Didn't think this through. Oh no! Inspiration!
So Kai and Yelena are fine.
So I can gain an inspiration and use an inspiration, because I've already got one.
Okay, yeah. So use the one you have.
So use the one I have to reroll stealth. Oh, that's not much better, is it?
It's
Bloody
not much
hell.
better. So,
You're screwed.
so
Yep.
Kai and Yelena, you're like, you know, you're the knight. But Terel comes through and there's like a clanky clanky, and you hear this like snore, like, what is it?
I sort of surreptitiously gesture to them too and stand in front of the priest and say, I would like to confess my sins.
Oh, yes, my child, confess the sins that darken your day.
Go on, what to confess? Do I go back
So-
into the confessional?
So, like, Kai and Yelena, they're slinking off while Terel starts trying to come up with some confessions for the priest.
Yeah.
So, Yelena, Kai, you sneak across the temple floor. It's still deserted. And Terel, sit down, have a chat, have a chin wag. What do you confess to this priest?
Squirrels.
I had bad thoughts about people that I were with, and I wanted to hurt them.
Oh dear, are you of a violent temperament? Does violence typically darken your heart, my child?
I mean, sometimes. But they were very annoying people.
Patience brings light to our temperaments. You can weigh yourself down and darken your own path, holding on to petty grievances. Consider next time taking a deep breath and looking up to the sun and thinking, what would the Morning Lord do to brighten their day? And instead of turning a murderous heart towards this person, consider something generous, something brighter.
Thank you for that.
Now, go recite 30 objectitudes at the altar, and make a donation for Elysium. 30 gold, 30 gold. That will sort out your heart, right, lighten you up.
Okay.
A little indulgence.
Definitely lighten you
Yeah.
up. Definitely lighten you up. Go forth, my child. Go forth, my child. Thank you for your confession.
Thank you for your advice.
Meanwhile, Kai and Yelena, you have reached the double wooden doors.
Yeah. We open them? Do we sneaky peek?
You sneaky peek, you open them. And as you do, you see it's like a dark, but it's a brightly full moon night. So there's quite a bit of light, bright moonlight shining down from the sky. And you look out and around.
And it says, "Welcome to Parnast."
And you see a city with many with many bridges. I think I remember to turn off the identifying label this time. You think this is probably not Parnast, because yes, it has this spired cathedral with many glass windows, but it has great bridges and it has many buildings. It looks highly populated. But make a history checks. Terel, what are you doing now that you finished your confessional?
I'm going to go out to wherever there's like an altar and kneel and pray.
Okay.
I mean, I'll pray to Maliki, not the Morning Lord, but obviously I'll pray.
Doing your prayers to Maliki in some other god's temple.
Dear
to that-
Maliki, I am
Kai
sorry. for
and
having to-
Yelena, you look around. You don't immediately recognize anything, though. I'll say Kai, even though he rolled a crappy 11, and Yelena, you too. You both think, okay, well, some of these banners and stuff that are placed in this city, they look like they might be in Elvish, but they don't actually say where they are.
Do we speak Elvish?
Yeah, I think both of you do speak Elvish.
Do we read it?
But they're like this. The banners don't say anything helpful. They don't say anything like, okay, welcome to place X. Welcome to adventuring location B.
Or mailboxes with.
They're like
Is there a
this,
street name?
there's some kind of branding thing. It's just like, like it's like the bridge is just like labeled the Marble Glide or something like that. And it's just an Elvish. It's very quiet and deserted. You don't see very many people out because it is the middle of the night, or it's like at least, getting on midnight here now. And the people are few and far between. You see there are a few carriages, etc., here and there, but it's not bustling. It seems by and large this city is asleep. But you've stepped outside of this cathedral, and a very fashionable carriage is racing down the road. It's going to pass the cathedral. But just as it gets to be parallel with you, you see that it starts to put on its brakes just as it's past you. And it stops. And the carriage starts rolling backwards. You see the horses back up. And a face pokes out of one of the windows of the carriage. And it's of a very handsome, elvish man. Dark hair, very like deep blue eyes, a slight like dimple in his chin. He's dressed quite richly. And Yelena, you recognize him. This is handsome Moonsilver, who used to be part of the Moonlight Men. Yeah, like you're not sure if handsome is really his name. It might have just been like kind of like a stage appropriation. He used it at least as a stage name. Handsome is a bard, and something clicks in your head that like, oh, Moonsilver.
Silver.
You're like, oh yeah, Harper's. Handsome Moonsilver. He was like at the Harper's. His whole family did that thing. And he's recognizing, he's like, Yelena? What? If it isn't Yelena, what are you doing out here on these streets of Silvery Moon at this time of night? Hopefully up to something fun.
Oh yeah, totally. And thank you for that.
You're welcome. I aim to please. No, but seriously, what are you doing here?
Can I trust him? Can I be honest with him? Or
as
is that
far
gonna
as you know, you can trust him. Let me he was one of the Moonlight Men. So this is one of the people that you assisted in fighting the Cult of Elemental Evil before. And he was essentially the leader of the group, though. I mean, in name, he was the leader, but there were like other people, like your mentor was more, like Greenlee was more like the spiritual mentor of the group. But this is someone who you helped do the scouting and tracking to lead them to places where they then killed a bunch of cultists and fought elementals and things like that. You know he's a bard.
Uh-huh.
You know he's a lot. And you know he lives, his family lives in Silvery Moon.
And where is Silvery Moon at?
Silvery Moon is in the north of the High Forest. And Terel, if Terel wasn't back praying to Maliki, this is close to her hometown, a couple days away from Oakshield, along the near the river Rovan. And it's probably the largest city in the north, at least largest city north of the High Forest. And as handsome Moonsilver observes you racking your brain about stuff and what to ask and whether or not you trust him, he says, "Say, have you heard from Moldy?"
And I have not, correct? I can't remember. He was in trouble, right? He was banished?
Well, you're like, he was operating out of Oral Bar, but he's banished from doing his balloon stuff. But you haven't heard from him specifically, I don't think.
So I look at him and I was like, handsome, how much time have you got?
I am at your service. I have all night. Who's your charming friend here? And he points to Kai.
This is my travel companion, Kai. We have another companion who's back in the temple. Let me give you the short version. We came from Sweetwater, believe it or not.
Well, Sweetwater.
Which is near Loudwater in Orlebar.
Well, I have heard of Loudwater, and I've heard of Orlebar. That's where Moldy lives.
Right. So I've conveyed to him that Moldy is MIA currently, and I think we were going to try and check that out.
He's missing. You know he's missing for certain.
I
got a strange message from him about a month ago. But it was Moldy, being Moldy.
Yeah.
You know how he is.
A month ago.
About the aliens, he's always on about them, and he sends me this urgent message that he spotted signs of the aliens' return from his observatory. So I kind of thought it was, his normal whatnot. He said he was going to seek answers, perhaps purge his mind of the noise once and for all. And you recall that Moldy was an arcane caster, but he was not a wizard like Kai is. He always just said that his magic was more innate, and he always claimed that his spells came from aliens. And they put like the noise of the magic in his head, and that's where it came from. And he wanted it to stop. It sounds like from his story, it's like, oh, I've seen the aliens. I'm going to go get rid of this magic noise in my head. And there's always that thing is he's capable of arcane spells, but no one was ever really certain, whether he's just a little weird or whether this is actually true. And as you see, like, handsome Moonsilver's kind of like, thing is, he usually messages pretty often. I have him once a week. He likes to talk to somebody. He's out there alone in the observatory more often than not, just kind of talking to his hot air balloon. So I don't mind if he sends me a message. It's good for him. But I haven't heard anything for at least 2 weeks. Starting to wonder if I shouldn't look into it.
I forget, did Belliphauna come through with us?
No, you kind of talked her into staying behind and eating
Maybe
snacks or something.
Yeah, so it's just the three of us.
Well, it's the two of you.
Yeah.
What are you doing in Silvery Moon? I don't think I haven't got the impression the city is really your venue.
It isn't. We were actually, not like recently at we just came from Sweetwater. Do you understand that? I think minutes ago. So what I'm trying to say is we found a magical portal. We actually found 4 of them, because we're sneaky and rude, and but then the inn proprietor where the portals were let us, came down and gave us, some more information about them. So we went through this one because this was the only one where we didn't hear nasty snarling things, and except for a snoring priest, and our friend Terel is currently talking to that person in the temple back there, and that portal led from Sweetwater to here, to that temple, and we're just trying to figure stuff out, and all we know is the Harpers are involved. So,
in this torrent of words, at first,
I thought that was a pretty good summary.
First, Handsome was playing it pretty cool, but as you continue to talk, his mouth just inadvertently just kind of drops open, and then he realizes and shuts it. But then he kind of like slaps a hand over his mouth as it drops open again, and then he's kind of gone through a myriad of expressions, and then he gets a little serious. And he calls to the driver of his vehicle. And he's like, Chauncey, park it. And then he ushers you up the stairs into the church with him. And he's more businesslike. He still has that kind of jaunty air. But you can tell just from your familiarity with him that he's getting down to business. So, the arrangement we have regarding the teleportation network is not up to snuff. That is a bit disappointing. No. We'll have to do something about that.
True. And we don't have any ill intent here. We were traveling. We thought maybe one of these portals would get us to our destination faster, but that doesn't look like the case.
Well, fortunately, it was you, Yelena, who investigated the situation.
Are we about to have trouble here?
Well, I don't think I like the sound of all the shouting, etc., that you described in other locations. In Waterdeep, in the City of the Dead.
Yeah.
At the school. I'll have to go investigate them. Maybe call in some other people. Make contacts there. I will follow up on those 2 things.
What's going on? Is it all connected?
Have you seen signs of anyone else showing an interest in the portals?
No. What's triggered this is we were looking. Some kids were missing. And that's a whole nother story that we apparently missed out on. And that's why we went poking around.
Hmm.
No ill intent, no intent to thieve.
And do you know anything about these children, what their names are, what their backstories are?
Nope, did we even remember those kids' names?
I don't think we even asked.
hell, I might not even have told you.
It's like we were alarmed. There were kids missing.
We were more concerned about the pig going missing and
Well,
saying,
it was actually,
I
I left the pig out. I didn't even want to bring up that this started with a pig. But yeah, it started with a pig and then two
Just a
kids.
pig.
And then we said, oh, that sounds all really bad. Something is eating pigs and
actually-
children.
So, Terel, while you're doing your prayers to Maliki, you see that Yelena and Kai and this stranger just come walking right back in the church. They're talking at the top of their lungs, having this, kind of earnest conversation, and they're walking back towards the confession booths.
And I just sort of give a hand signal of like, I know this guy. Yeah. The world's full of coincidences.
And so he just brings you up and he knocks on the confession booth and he's like, Father Toby, take a lap. We've got traffic. And rather than kind of sounding as well met, my child kind of thing, his voice drops and he's like, I wondered. I think she's praying to somebody weird out there.
I turn around and look at him and say, Oi!
And Handsome, he said, now, how many of you, it's just been the three of you traveling through here, you're certain?
Just us three. We have a friend of ours back on the other side who didn't come with us.
All right.
All right. I
There
don't
is
know
a
this
limit.
person, do I?
Oh, hi, I'm Handsome. And he gives this grin, this shit-eating grin. And
Not to me, you're not.
Yelena's like, this is his whole deal. This is the whole reason why he goes by the name Handsome, is so he can pull that hi, I'm handsome bullshit.
I loosen my sword.
He's like, okay, you're not my audience. And he opens up the door to the confessional booth with the portal in it.
So wait, are we saying he knows about this Paul?
Yes, he's a harper.
He opens up his tabard and he shows you a harper pen.
I let go of my sword. Okay, now I understand.
This is our network. We use it for traveling between
You
different
don't do a
locations.
very good job of securing it.
I'm beginning to perceive that. Some changes will have to be made, but for now, I need to address the trouble that you've so helpfully scouted out tonight. Now, there are limits to the amount of traffic this can handle daily, up to 8 ventures back and forth.
Hang
8
on.
people.
So we've gone...
3
Does that-
across.
Is that like a full thing? Because does a snake count?
A snake. And at this point, your snake kind of like starts slithering up your armored leg, like, hey, don't forget me. I'm not sure if snakes count, actually. But as long as it's just been the three of you and a snake, I don't think we've met the limit. And with me now, that will be, 4, 5... 8 people back and forth. So 16 one-way trips, if I have the math correct. It's not my strong suit. Then it reaches a daily capacity. So, pretty helpful for some quick travel, which it is intended for, but not for mass invasion, you understand. I mean, there's certain... Security's obviously a flaw here.
Look, we don't want those guys to get in trouble. Just
That is a built-in bottleneck, because only so many people can come through.
that's a good idea, isn't it?
Mm.
That was a concern of mine.
It resets with the dawn. So, if you were to ever use these again, and
It
at this
resets.
point, he kind of taps above the ceiling above, like does a little like standing jump, taps the ceiling above, and you see like the covering, the lining kind of fall away, and there is more inscription of runes in the ceiling of this little confessional booth. If you use these again, keep in mind, use them too much. Too many people have used them. You might get stuck somewhere overnight.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be good the next day.
Good to know.
And then he steps in. If you follow him...
That's what I'm assuming. Should we follow? I guess we should follow him.
You follow on his heels.
Yeah.
And as you're going on his heels, he's already going, "Hi, I'm handsome," to Lady Belliphauna. And she's like, have we met? And she's getting up off the floor.
I'm just like, it's just
guys?
an interesting day full of coincidences today. That's all I'm going to say.
And Crone, but what's his name? The tavern owner. Garwin, he's there. He's like, oh, he's obviously like, oh shit. Oh, sorry, Mr. Master Moonsilver. I did not realize you would be making an appearance. I've made notes of all the occurrences of these individuals and their trespassing of the teleportation circle. I might need some reinforcements. And Hansen's like, calm down. They're friends. But you will be getting new reinforcements. He gives you another nod, Yelena. Says, do you understand what the circles go?
Yes. Well, actually, no, we don't know the first one. We weren't sure about that one.
We don't use that very often, but it is the Grey Peak Mountains. Maybe a day's travel away from Parnast.
Good. Okay.
That one is, well, no, it probably won't put you the closest to where Moldy is. Though it might. I don't know quite where he went in the Grey Peak Mountains. He started out in Ulbar, though. You have any interest, since we're coming out of here, you have any interest? We're about equal distance from Ulbar here as you would be where that portal comes out. And you follow up on him.
Yeah.
Let me know if you need reinforcements. But as for the others, which do you think is more urgent? Sounds in the classroom or sounds in the graveyard?
Oh.
I mean, I would say it sounds in the classroom because there were, because there were people there. Could they deal with it?
Yeah, those are so is the classroom, that's a wizarding academy, or I'm assuming there's capable adults that can handle.
Who was, you were peeping? Were you the only one peeping, Yelena? Who was doing the peeping?
Was it just me? I think. Yeah, I think it was just me.
Do an insight check. Okay, with the 15, you do think the voices sounded kind of young. Like you would, if you had to guess, you would think it was students more than teachers.
Okay, students summoning something they shouldn't have. I'll convey that. I don't know what it was, but if they do any sort of demonic summoning there for any silly reason?
Handsome's expression kind of. He raises a brow, looking dubious. Well, thinking about when I was young and had too much power at my fingertips. Youthful hijinks it is. And so he heads for that portal and disappears out of sight.
Okay. He made a choice. That's fine. That probably was the right choice. Waterdeep's got armies.
Yeah, I mean, you argued it earlier. They got armies. They got, like, people and stuff.
They've got resources.
Resources. What do the kids have? Okay, no, it's late. So I think we will wrap up there with your old friend Handsome Moonsilver disappearing out of sight, who's taken your promise to like contact him if you need assistance with situation, and he's trusting that you are going to investigate what's happening with Moldy Marstein.
Yes.
Whatever's going on on Orlbar, which is kind of what you were intending to do.
Yep.
Though you didn't know anything about, like, stories about aliens per se with his situation.
I guess we found out information, so it's all good.
With that, Lady Belliphauna is like, well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm, like, really tired.
That's right. Let's go. All right.
Yes. I'm gonna grab a sausage and go to bed.
I agree.
Yep.
Yep, I would very much like to have a long rest.
Yelena, who was
flipped
that
the-
handsome man?
We'll have to. Hopefully, he'll come back through.
Is he
before we
rich? Would he
leave.
like to invest in a small struggling town?
Is he rich? Probably not.
He's very rich.
Oh, is he very rich? He's
Yeah,
a
the
successful
Moonlight
bard.
Men was kind of like this like glamorous, nepo baby kind of project. That was invented by that was started by his grandfather.
Oh my god, he's a trust fund bard.
He's a trust fund bard. Yeah. I mean, he's good at what he does, but he is a trust fund bard. He's like the Lewis Pullman of.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I'll let you guys go. That's where we'll end. Everybody goes to sleep. I will give you guys a long rest.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. You guys have avoided all opportunities so far to get into hijinks.
We got into hijinks.
Violent hijinks.
Mm.
And we basically said, yeah, we were getting into hijinks.
I mean, I thought
No good reason.
I thought that's what we were doing with the polls, but no, we avoided the mimic.
That's right. If we'd stayed, would we have been fighting a mimic?
It depends. I mean, if you'd gone outside at any point, there were things you could have discovered during the evening that could have gotten into situations. If you had explored things differently with the teleportation network, you could have gotten into situations.
Well, it sounds like we could have really gotten into a situation there.
But you've been super cautious. You were very cautious.
I'm assuming, so sticking your face through a little bit doesn't count as one?
I'm treating it like it doesn't count as one.
Okay, good.
I was just if the point was letting you explore without penalizing you for it, I'm not going to be able magic. I mean, it's magic in a fantasy universe. How technical can I be about that? Let's just say there's a certain number of you can't just jump back and forth indefinitely like you're doing. What is that challenge in DDO with the kobolds in the mine, where you when you're collecting crystals in that one challenge, and you set up the teleportation so the kobolds are just jumping back and forth 100 times to get
Crystal Cove.
Yeah, like Crystal Cove or something, where you just want them to bounce back and forth between the teleportation circles to check off an achievement. That's not what was going to go on, but a reasonable number of traffic, a reasonable amount of traffic. Okay. Well,
let's see.
Next time we play, our normal time would be
21st.
I wonder why it's not on my calendar. Interesting. Yeah, the 21st. Okay. Is that good for everyone?
So far, it looks like it.
Yep.
All right. Let's see if we remember it.
And I'll try not to go to the emergency room again.
Yes. Yay. And here's hoping your ears are happy in the future.
I know.
All the parts do what they're supposed to do. And quit being naughty.
Right. Night.
All
everybody.
right.
Thanks ever so much, Bonnie. See you later.
Thanks,
See you in a few weeks. Bye.
Bye.